I thought buying my dream car meant I was finally getting my life together. Turns out, it was the fastest way I'd ever found to make six figures feel surprisingly average. And the crazy part, the mistake wasn't buying the car. It was everything I never thought to calculate after I drove it off the lot. 3 years ago, I was 29, working a normal 9-to-5 job. Nothing glamorous. I made decent money, paid my bills on time, and for the first time since graduating college, I wasn't constantly worried about overdrafting my checking account. Life felt stable. My old Honda, though, not so much. Every morning, it made a sound that was somewhere between a cough and a cry for help. Every time I turned the key, I'd think, please, just one more week. Friends kept teasing me. Dude, you make good money now. When are you finally getting rid of that thing? Even my mom started saying, you deserve something reliable. I didn't realize it then, but hearing the same thing from enough people starts sounding like your own opinion. So one Saturday, I walked into a dealership. I told myself I was just looking. I don't know why we all lie to ourselves like that. Within an hour, I was sitting inside this beautiful dark blue SUV with heated seats, a giant touchscreen, and speakers that made my Spotify playlist sound like a live concert. Then the salesman smiled and said something so simple it completely lowered my defenses. You've worked hard. You deserve to enjoy your money. Looking back, that sentence probably cost me more than the car itself. When he showed me the price, my stomach dropped. $42,000. I was already thinking about leaving when he flipped the paper over. $639 a month. Weird how our brains work. 42,000 sounded impossible. 639 sounded manageable. I signed the paperwork. Driving home felt incredible. I actually took the long way home for absolutely no reason. I parked outside my apartment and just sat there for a minute. I remember thinking, I finally made it. For the first couple of weeks, I loved everything about that car. I volunteered to drive everywhere. Coffee runs, grocery trips, weekend drives with no destination. If someone needed a ride to the airport, I was suddenly the most generous friend on earth. Then something changed. Not overnight. The excitement just slowly disappeared, kind of like buying the newest iPhone. The first week you can't stop looking at it. A month later, it's just your phone. Except the payment didn't disappear with the excitement. It kept showing up every single month. Then insurance renewed. I actually refreshed the page because I thought there had to be a mistake. Nope, that was the real number. Then gas, then registration, then maintenance, then new tires. I honestly had no idea tires could cost that much. I stood there at the service desk thinking, these are tires, not engagement rings. None of those expenses felt life-changing on their own, but together, it felt like someone had quietly added another rent payment into my life. I could still pay my bills. That's what confused me. I wasn't broke, so why did I constantly feel broke? That question stayed in my head for weeks. Then one Friday night, I was sitting alone in my apartment eating leftover pizza. Netflix was playing in the background, but I wasn't even watching it. I was staring at my bank account. I kept refreshing the page like the balance might magically change. It didn't. Instead, I opened Excel. Honestly, I expected to spend 10 minutes on it. 3 hours later, I was still there. I started adding everything: monthly payment, insurance, gas, oil changes, parking, registration, car washes, repairs. Then I remembered depreciation. I looked up what my SUV was worth now. I actually laughed, not because it was funny, because I genuinely didn't know what else to do. The car had quietly lost thousands of dollars while doing absolutely nothing. It wasn't broken, it wasn't damaged, it had simply existed. That was the moment everything clicked. I'd spent weeks negotiating the sticker price, hours comparing loan rates, but I barely spent 5 minutes thinking about what the car would actually cost me to own. Nobody tricked me. The information was always there. I just never looked at it all together. And honestly, I think that's how most of us make money decisions. We obsess over the exciting number. We ignore the boring ones, because the boring ones don't show up all at once. They sneak into your life one payment at a time until they become normal. At first, I blamed the SUV. Then I realized the SUV wasn't really the problem. The real problem was me, or more specifically, the version of me that desperately wanted to feel successful. I never admitted that out loud, but deep down, I liked when people noticed the car. I liked hearing, "Nice ride." I liked pulling into work. It made me feel like I was finally catching up. Funny thing is, nobody cared nearly as much as I thought they did. One afternoon, I grabbed lunch with an older coworker. His truck looked like it had survived 3 presidents. I jokingly asked him why he never upgraded. He smiled and asked me one question. "What do you want your money to do for you?" I started talking about vacations, buying a house, having less stress, retiring one day. He nodded towards my SUV in the parking lot. "And is that helping?" I didn't answer, because I already knew the answer. The drive home was strangely quiet. I turned the radio off halfway through. For the first time since buying the SUV, I wasn't thinking about how nice it felt to drive. I kept hearing that question in my head. What do you want your money to do for you? Not just that night, for days. Every time I looked at the SUV, I stopped seeing a reward. I started seeing a monthly obligation. About 8 months later, I sold it. Not because I hated it. Honestly, I still think it was an amazing vehicle, but every month it was quietly stealing choices from future me. After selling it, I bought a reliable used sedan. The first week felt weird, like I'd somehow gone backward. I kept wondering if people noticed. I kept wondering what they were thinking. Then something unexpected happened. Absolutely nothing. Nobody treated me differently. Nobody stopped being my friend. Nobody even mentioned it. Turns out, the person most impressed by my expensive car had always been me. That realization changed more than my finances. It changed how I looked at money. A few months later, my savings account started growing again. I wasn't rich, I wasn't making more money, I just wasn't sending as much of it away every month. The stress slowly disappeared, not all at once, just little by little, kind of like watching the gas gauge move in reverse. These days, whenever I'm about to buy something expensive, I still get excited. I'm still human, I still want cool stuff. But before I swipe my card, I ask myself one question. What will this cost me after the excitement wears off? It's funny, the real cost was every choice I quietly gave up afterward. Looking successful felt amazing for a few months. Feeling financially calm has lasted a whole lot longer. And if I could go back and tell my younger self one thing, it wouldn't be, "Don't buy that SUV." It would simply be this. Don't just ask if you can afford to buy it. Ask whether you'll still be happy paying for it, long after the new car smell is gone. Looking back now, I don't regret wanting a nicer life. I think everyone wants that. I just wish someone had reminded me that the things you own don't quietly build your future. Your daily decisions do. Most of the biggest financial mistakes don't feel like mistakes when you're making them. They feel exciting. They feel deserved. They feel normal. That's why they're so easy to miss. Real financial confidence isn't something people notice when you drive by. It's something you quietly feel when life throws you a surprise. Because in the end, the richest version of me wasn't the guy driving the nicest car. It was the guy who finally understood that money isn't about impressing other people. It's about giving yourself the freedom to choose your own future.